Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel. I'm your host, ArmaniTalks. In this channel, I'm covering communication skills for you to level up your way with words and become much more articulate. If you're new to this channel, welcome aboard. Every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'm dropping brand new videos on topics such as public speaking, social skills, emotional intelligence, and much more. Join the tribe by hitting that subscribe button right on below, hit that bell notification, and never miss another video again. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. And be sure to drop that like on your way in. Today, we have a part 3 for the 5 social sins. If you're new to the channel, I've made a part 1 and part 2 to the 5 social sins that I'm going to link in the description box and the pinned comment right on below. And don't worry, you don't necessarily need to watch part 1 and part 2 to understand this. These are a few social sins that often happens without much awareness. And in this video, I'm going to bring up the sins. I'm going to explain why they're sins in the first place. And then I'm going to give you some possible solutions for it so you turn social sins into social intelligence. If you're ready and excited for today's video, go on and drop that like for me right on below. And let's get started with the first one, which is picking a consultant's brain. Whenever you're picking someone's brain, that's code for you're asking them a lot of questions. Not just once, but in a series of occurrences, you're trying to get information out of them. The reason that this is a sin is because consultants get paid for something like this. And you consistently asking them, hey, can I pick your brain? They're perceiving it as, yo, give me a free session. I realized this was a social sin when I was roughly a senior in high school. I was getting into lifting weights around that time. And I would work out with a guy named Wilson. Wilson and I, we were like the blind leading the blind. We didn't know much about getting a nice physique. But luckily for us, there was a guy in the gym named Steve. Steve would always wear this baseball cap. He was in his mid-40s. He was shredded, and he spoke in a language that we understood. Steve was very friendly, and not only did he work out in that gym, he was also one of the personal trainers. Me and Wilson, we used to pick his brain all the time when he was trying to work out. And since Steve was such a polite fellow, he answered our questions back. I mean, we didn't know how to read body language back then. But if we did, we could see that Steve was getting somewhat annoyed. And to make matters worse, there were a few times when Steve was telling us about him owning this supplement company, and he would really appreciate it if we could support his business. I believe he sold something called rocket fuel, something like that. And each time, me and Wilson were like, oh, we're good, bro. We don't need that stuff. And this was a very bad look for us because we wasted a lot of Steve's time and we never supported him for it. So the next time you're thinking about asking one of your consultant buddies or any subject matter expert to pick their brain, see, number one, if you guys even have the rapport like that. And if they agree, do your best to hook them up in some other way. Do them some favors or at least support their business. That's social sin number 1. Social sin number 2 is to physically cut someone off. I'm sure you've heard of interrupting someone midway into a conversation. That's not what I mean in this video. I'm talking about physically edging someone out of a conversation. This will typically happen whenever there's a group and they're in a circle. And what happens is one of the people sometimes gets so focused in their story that they accidentally start to look at one sector of the group, which causes them to have their back facing another sector of the group, or at least one person. And this is something that often is not malicious by any means. It just happens almost on autopilot. But here's the thing. The person who is being edged out perceives this move as disrespect. It's not smart to have your back facing someone, especially when you're telling a story. And a remix to this is just looking at one person the entire time and ignoring the rest of the group. It's much wiser to keep the body language open and do your best to break the group into 3 different sections and do your best to gradually give everyone some attention. If you can't do that, at least do not physically cut them out of the group. That's social sin number 2. Social sin number 3 is not introducing someone properly. Have you ever had that happen to you? When you're chilling with a friend, let's say you guys are walking around the mall, everything's going well, and then out of nowhere, someone that you perceive to be a stranger comes up to your friend, and apparently they know each other. They're over here talking for a long time. Your friend quickly says, this is Jimmy, and then goes back into this detailed conversation. This is Jimmy is not a proper introduction. It's only a proper introduction once the person being introduced is integrated into the conversation. Without the integration, the introduction is not complete. And this is a mistake that even very socially savvy people often make. They'll just say someone's name and be like, that's it. That's like going to a restaurant, your waiter asks, would you like water? And you're like, yes. He gives you the water, and then he never asks you what you want to eat in the damn restaurant. And that's exactly what it's like to say someone's name, but never integrate them into the interaction. That's social sin number 3. Social sin number 4 is to give clues that you know a secret. I don't like this. And I've seen this a lot, where let's say you tell someone a secret and you reinforce, this is a secret. And now you're going to a group interaction with this person that you just told a secret to. And this person is in front of the group giving hints that you told them a secret. And they'll often do it in a very subtle way. Some people maliciously do that because it's a power play move. Other people are very silly. They don't know any better. And they're just like, they just want to show off that they know something that other people do not know. And they're like, well, technically, I'm not telling the secret. Sure, I'm giving some clues, but I'm not breaking any promises. This is still a social sin, and it should be avoided. It's best to not even give a clue that you know anything, especially a secret that your friend told you not to spill. That's social sin number 4. And social sin number 5 is to bring up flaws of others in public. Every now and then, this can work, where you're with your friends, you guys are having a little roast off, and obviously in a roast off, you're bringing up flaws in public. With certain groups of people, this is fine. With other groups of people, it's not fine. And they get very sensitive and they get offended. Growing up, I was a very skinny kid. I looked like a twig. And anytime I would go from the United States to Bangladesh, a lot of my relatives would bring up, hey, you're so skinny. And they would publicly bring awareness to this in front of all these other uncles and aunties. Now, here's the thing. A lot of these uncles and aunties were joking around when they were calling me skinny. So I didn't take any offense to it. But here's what happened. I took this mannerism of bringing up flaws in public and I brought it to the US with me. There was this one time when I was chilling with a bunch of friends, and this one kid who I don't know that well at the time, we don't have that much of a rapport, he comes out of his room and he's literally wearing yellow pants and he's wearing a white shirt. Now, at this point, I just got done a roast off with all these other people, and I look at this guy and I'm like, bro, you literally look like a peeled banana right now. And when I say that, the entire group starts laughing at this guy, and this guy gets angry at me. He starts cursing me out. He starts calling me fat and skinny, not making any sense, showing that he was highly upset. Afterwards, I learned that this guy was recently experimenting with men's fashion, and him wearing the yellow pants, he was thinking about this for some time. It's called a statement piece, and he didn't know if it was the right move to make. And this guy that barely even knows him, just making fun of him like that, set him off. So later on, I apologized, and nowadays, him and I still have a relationship. He's really good in fashion, by the way, and he's someone that I could always ask tips for. And don't worry, I buy him dinner. I don't ask it for free. So these were 5 social sins that some may have resonated with you. Others, you're probably like, oh, duh. But the main thing to understand is that a lot of these social sins, the key in regards to all of this is awareness. If you can have awareness that you commit some of them, then it's much easier to slowly edge it out of your life. Did you enjoy today's video? If so, be sure to drop that like right on below and go on and check out part 1 and part 2 of social sins. I'm going to link it in the description box and in the pinned comment right on below. And thank you very much for joining the Armani Talks YouTube channel.